search, some people find. Some people die while others survive. Think that everyone can outlast time. You sit in your way.
Sometimes life chooses you. It's taken on a life of its own. This farm, this organic farm is now my life, and I am now a farmer. And I don't, really not sure how that happened, but happy that it did.
I've never seen a sunrise my entire life.
So people always ask, was this a passion of yours? Were you a gardener? Were you a farmer? Is this something that you always wanted to do? And my response is no. Sometimes I think we make choices in life, and I think sometimes life makes choices for us, or things get put in our path, and that's the path we're supposed to be on. So I kind of ran with all this, from the garden to the farm, and I've gotten to the point now where, this is consuming my life. This is basically what I do with my time. My time is now focused on the foundation and getting the farm up and running and getting funds for the farm and writing the grants and trying to get, corporate sponsorship and people backing me. It was not the path I thought I was going to be on in my life, probably because my life didn't start in, in this particular field in agriculture. It started, to believe it or not, in the comedy industry. At the age of 21, I actually was one of the first women managers of a local comedy club. Probably in many states it was basically a male-dominated industry. At 21 I took over running this club called Chaplin's Comedy Club. It was the second one that they had opened, and then, through my years in comedy, I actually wound up opening clubs in one in Windsor, one in Chicago, Plymouth, Canton, and so by the time I was done in comedy, not only was I, running 5 clubs at one time, but I also had opened my own talent and management company called Motown Entertainment that I'd started with my husband at the time, who was a nationally touring comedian, and we started that company in order to, move his career forward and that, save him some money because we were doing the bookings and the managing ourselves of these rooms. And after my divorce, I actually started doing stand-up myself, and I did that for a couple of reasons. One, because I was told I couldn't by my ex-husband, so that made me want to do it. And then the other reason was because I had a fear of public speaking, so I figured that if I challenged myself by trying to perform stand-up, I would get more comfortable in front of large groups of people, and that definitely did work. I actually got to the point where I was doing pretty decently in the comedy industry, and as I said, sometimes life makes choices for us. It was around that time where I became pregnant, and with my son, my youngest child, Ian, and I decided that I didn't want to do the stand-up comedy anymore. It just wasn't conducive, being pregnant and having a small child, to be on the road or out at night. So my focus then started shifting into production, and it started shifting into production for a few reasons. One, I had gotten a divorce and I was having difficulty with receiving child support. My ex-spouse basically made sure that he would hide out on the road and move from different places to different places, making it very difficult for us to catch up with him. It took me even 2 years to get a divorce because I couldn't serve him with paperwork because we couldn't find him. And then, so that kind of started me on the path to production, which is, sometimes I start looking at things and I start bringing things together. And I was watching, believe it or not, Dog the Bounty Hunter one night, and I had watched some other shows similar to that, and I thought to myself, the child support issue here in Michigan is really difficult. And once I started doing more research on that, I realized that there was $8.9 billion owed in the state of Michigan in back child support, and that we were like the third largest state that had the most child support owed. I mean, eventually my main goal, one of the things that I'd really like to do, and then this is probably down the line once the farm is kind of fully up and running and kind of taking care of itself, that farm, from what I've been told, can produce on its own about $250,000 a year. And we're not going to need $250,000 a year to operate that. So then that money then would go back to the foundation, and what we would like to do then with that money is start taking some of these homes that have been foreclosed, purchase them, redo them, rehabbing them in a green, off-the-grid way, and then making them available to people who are interested in those types of homes, and also making people more interested into moving maybe back to Dearborn, and kind of reestablishing this community as it was. You know, this has been a great community for a lot of years, and like all municipalities right now, it is struggling just like anybody else. They are $20 million negative in their budget. They are having some troubles, just like, you know, other municipalities are, and our goal is to not just do this in Dearborn, but then to be able to show people in other communities that they themselves can do it as well, and then make this like the pilot where they can then duplicate the efforts that we've made and make it available there.